Are you saying that young Jock, the walking meme, the uncontested comedy relief, the hip-hop and love icon with more hairstyles than plot points, has been removed from season 13? No, something doesn't seem right. Isn't merely an artistic choice. For personal reasons, isn't a vacation. The takedown was this. Not just any takedown either. The same filmmakers who gave him television time for haggling about infidelity accusations in a salon while sporting a perm, executed him in a quiet, icy, off-camera manner. Suddenly, there is quiet. Jock, where are you? Why does the promo roster not include his name? Why did the network ignore him? Was this the last time Mona Scott used her influence? Or did Kendra secretly abandon the project? Or is Jock concealing something? Brace yourself, because what we discovered will cause you to reevaluate everything you believe to be true about young Jock, the franchise and the drama behind the drama. It was so outrageous and embarrassing that even VH1 said, "Yeah, nah, we can't air that." One thing we know for sure is this wasn't accidental. This was surgical, baby. This isn't just tea. It's hip and full of affection. Atlanta has always been a chaotic city with a lot of culture, drama, and scandal. There was one constant, though, regardless of how loud the debates were or how many wine glasses were thrown. Jock Young. He served as the surprise truth teller, the comic relief for the show, and, to be honest, the only cast member who never took himself too seriously. He became hilarious, approachable, and marketable as a result. Thus, when the streets began to murmur, fans were shaken, memes were popping. And one question kept coming up when the season 13 trailer was released and young Jock was nowhere to be seen. Young Jock, where are you? Let's take a moment to go back. Young Jock has been a mainstay on the show for more than 10 years. Jock was constantly in the middle of things, whether he was trying to mend his relationship with Kendra Robinson, dealing with barbershop strife, or being caught up in ugly love triangles. As other AUGs vanished, he was among the few that remained. So why would he be abruptly cut from the show? Well, he didn't leave, rumors from inside say. They forced him to go. In silence. Yes, they forced him to resign. And the explanation for why it becomes hazy and dubious at that point? Production-related sources claim that Jock's plot had begun to lose its appeal. Yes, exactly. According to reports, producers thought his arc was no longer producing enough heat. No significant drama, no viral events. Additionally, love and hip hop required fire, not humor. As the show was under pressure to change and compete with younger, messier shows that were powered by TikTok, and Kendra comes next. At the conclusion of season 12, Jock's wife had already stated that she was beyond her embarrassment, following an entire season filled with deception, side chicks, and public humiliation. Kendra was prepared to move on and perhaps even step away from the spotlight. This is where things start to become really intriguing. According to rumors, Kendra wouldn't film until producers agreed to specific terms. Sources claim that she wanted complete control over what was and wasn't shown, particularly in relation to their marriage. No more scandals involving cheating. No more sporadic appearances of ex-girlfriends. No more Carly Red with a lie detector darting out from the bushes. The production crew and Mona Scott, however, weren't present for any of that. The disarray was what they wanted. And they ended the plot when the mascot denied it. Jock backed away as Kendra did. That's what we were supposed to think anyway. However, the truth may have been more heartless than that. According to other crew members, Jock did not resign. He was gently moved out, soft-fired, and sidelined. Additionally, no one was permitted to discuss it in public. Not even Jock. And just silence, no podcast, no YouTube sit-down, no Instagram tirade. It is also not typical for Jock. We're discussing a man who has always been outspoken, engaged, and never snubbed himself, especially when the memes were going strong. It's radio quiet this time though, and there's a lot of silence. Fans have begun to speculate about a deeper purpose because it's so loud. They don't want us to know about it. Is there a contract dispute at hand? Did Jock reject a scenario that was pre-written? Is he made an example of by Mona and the ex for breaking the rules? Rumor has it that Jock was given a smaller part in the background scenes of season 13. Nothing except check-ins. No plot, Jock said no. It is said that he believed he was entitled to more. To be honest, for a longer time than most, he had been keeping the show down. However, they apparently iced him out entirely the instant he answered no. Boom! Jock's entire presence disappeared from season 13 when the producers said, "Cool, you don't want less? Then you get nothing." Add that to Kendra's refusal to cooperate, and boom, Jock's entire presence disappeared. The energy changed, the vibe changed, and the original cast started dropping like flies. Season 13 is feeling more like a reboot than a continuation. But fans weren't letting this go because love and hip-hop without young Jock just feels weird. It's like watching a fight without a referee. It's chaotic, but not in a fun way. They had a new plan, a new cast, and a new vibe. They started bringing in fresh Salma Slims and a few surprise faces from previous seasons. The glue is him. Regardless of what people think, the moment Jock vanished, the show's Loki fell off. Mona had best get him back for season 14. And that leads us to the next big mystery. Will young Jock return in season 14 if he isn't in season 13? Well, buckle up because this is where it gets even deeper. And look, nothing is ever permanent in this industry, but the way Jock vanished and his complete silence made fans feel that wasn't just a break. It was personal. Let's talk about the real reason behind every cut, every casting change, and every quiet quit. In reality TV, there's always a deeper reason, and in this instance, insiders say there was a cold war brewing between Jock and production. Apparently, during the reunion in season 12. Jock wasn't happy with the way things were edited, and he feels that certain scenes were manipulated to make him appear worse. The executives apparently didn't like that moment. One assistant director reportedly observed, "You don't bite the hand that feeds you." He even called out producers off camera, accusing them of clown editing to increase ratings. When it came time to plan season 13, guess whose name was pushed further down the priority list? Exactly. However, there's more to this chessboard. People are saying that Mona Scott and her core team wanted to reshape the brand because they needed fresh energy. Younger faces and less predictable drama after years of the same storylines. Cheating, side babies, and failed marriages. And let's be honest, even with his memeable energy, Jock was becoming predictable. Funny, yes. Relevant, debatable. Especially when younger, wilder personalities were flooding the timeline and bringing viral content with them. Names like Queen Key and Salma Slims came in hot. They didn't have filters, they weren't afraid, and they didn't have any baggage from the past to deal with. They were ready to shake the table and producers loved it. In contrast, Jock was now viewed as too safe. He wasn't bringing the heat they needed, or at least that's what they wanted the public to believe. However, if you dig a little deeper, you'll see that Jock was being pushed out. Not because he didn't want to manufacture cheating just for views. No. Imagine refusing scripted drama in a show that was built on scripted drama. That wasn't going to work. So what did they do? They offered him less screen time in the hopes that he would comply or leave, and when he didn't, they cut him off completely. That's not quitting, bro. That's being forced out. What's even crazier is that they didn't even publicly acknowledge his absence. Not even a thank you for your years of service. Not even a shady tweet, just silence. However, fans, bloggers, podcasters, and others aren't forgetting. Everyone wants to know where Jock is. Why did Kendra also vanish? What actually caused them to disappear? And you know what else is interesting? Jock has been remarkably composed. Usually when a cast member is fired, they go live, make jokes, and maybe even expose some direct messages. But Jock has been chilling. There hasn't been any drama or outbursts, and Some say is because he's taking the high road, while others say he's planning something bigger. Rumor has it that Jock is negotiating a return in season 14, but on his own terms. Now, let's consider what might be happening. Barbershop jokes and the story of the cheating husband. There are also rumors that he and Kendra are working on a relationship podcast, something more mature and more genuine, where they take charge of the story for once. 'Cause, let's face it, Love and Hip Hop only portrays one side of the truth, and Jock has been living with that version for years. So if he does return in season 14, it may not be as the funny guy anymore, but rather young Jock 2.0, cleaned up, rebranded, and prepared to share his side. However, before we go too far into the future, let's return to a topic that hasn't yet: the Kendra connection. Here's what's going on behind the scenes. Though during season 13's pre-production, producers allegedly approached Kendra with a pitch. They wanted to bring up old drama, such as the Carly Red mess, the cheating allegations, and everything else that should have been left in the past. Kendra said no flat out, telling them she wouldn't relive the pain for ratings. When she pushed back, they allegedly threatened to write her out. Do it at that point. Jock made a decision, and that decision was loyalty. He stood by his wife, and he paid the price. Now, whether you think that was noble or naive, that's up to you. But it's obvious that wasn't just business. It was personal. The fact that they both disappeared at the same time isn't a coincidence, Brodas. So, the next time someone tells you that Jock left the show, ask them again. Did he leave, or was he checkmated? And with all the drama surrounding his name, one thing is certain, even though season 13 is currently airing. The real drama is developing off-screen, and if Jock returns in season 14, trust me, it won't be the same energy, because when someone is silenced and stays silent for a long enough period of time, they usually come back loud. So, we've reached the point where the show has moved on, or at least that's what they want us to think. Season 13 is in full swing, and the cast is louder than ever, with new drama, new beef, and new faces vying for attention. But the most absurd thing is that despite everything, let's take a moment to talk about that. For years, Jock played the clown, giving them memes, viral quotes, wild outfits, messy love triangles, and, most dangerously, control of the entire Love and Hip Hop machine. See, the moment a cast member starts thinking for themselves, questioning, editing, pushing back on fake drama, or, God forbid, protecting their actual marriage from being destroyed on camera, the machine starts tightening. And Young, he didn't just push back. He walked out with integrity. He laughed at himself, let the internet make fun of him, and kept coming back for more. But when it came to Kendra, you could see the change. The humor subsided, and the man began to try to create something real. The problem with being real in a fake TV world is that it makes you a target. They wanted him to keep playing dumb, cheating, getting caught, and turning his real life into viral GIFs. And when he didn't, they cut him. The catch is that fans are becoming more aware of what actually happened, and social media is awash with clips, compilations, and analyses of what actually happened. Trending hashtags include #BringJoe and #JDE And guess who is liking those posts? Those from the previous cast. Those who have experienced the same Love and Hip Hop machine and have also been burned by it, such as Joe's Line, Erica Dixon, and even Little Scrappy, have all alluded to the way producers manipulate stories and turn people into villains for political advantage. Therefore, perhaps Jock's disappearance isn't a loss. Rather, it's a wake-up call. According to sources close to the matter, young Jock is quietly working on his own unscripted digital show. Something more genuine, mature, and entirely outside of Mona's empire. Additionally, there are rumors that he and Kendra are in negotiations with a major podcast network to launch a relationship-based series called Part Therapy. Part T, all real, think less miserable TV and more healing with receipts. The audience is tired of fake drama and they want truth, insight, and the real stories behind the reality TV edits. Who better to tell them than someone who has lived it? Don't count VH1 out just yet though, because season 14 is already in development. And executives are beginning to feel the pressure that if they don't fix it quickly, the audience's loyalty might go with him. There has even been some quiet movement behind the scenes. And rumors have it that some producers are pushing for a Jock redemption arc in season 14. It's a surprise return that includes a dramatic on-camera confrontation and possibly even a forgiveness storyline with Kendra. The problem is that young Jock is now in charge and isn't pleading for screen time. He has brand, platforms, audience, and most importantly, voice. If he returns, it will be on his terms. He won't be the comic relief. He won't be fighting in barbershops. He won't be on national TV, and he'll return as a man who understands the game and plays it better. The real ones see it, the fans feel it, and the machine, well, it's beginning to shake. Now, the focus is on the person who left the room, not on who is crying on the reunion couch, who is holding the peach, who is fighting at brunch, or who is crying. That's power, that's impact, that's young Jock. And if you don't see his name in the credits the next time, don't ask why they cut him. Instead, ask who's scared of him coming back. 'Cause when a man walks away from the noise and still makes headlines, that's not quitting. That's laying veils up. And that's the real story behind young Jock in Love and Hip Hop Season 13. Now it's your turn to talk. Do you believe that young Jock was unfairly forced to leave Love and Hip Hop Season 13? Or was this a calculated move that he had planned all along? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Should Jock make a comeback and this narrative isn't finished? It's just getting started. If you liked this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe because the next one will be even crazier. Is it season 14? Or is his chapter in Love and Hip Hop completely closed?